Hi, this is Jeff from the Ozark Mountains. That's in Missouri, in the USA. Well, it's time for another Ferengi Friday. That's where we take a look at some of the things that have found their ways into the shop in the last few weeks. Let's jump right in. Thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this episode. Whether you need a small simple board like this or a larger, more complicated design, head on over to PCBWay.com, click on PCB Instant Quote, upload your files, and select from the plethora of options available. PCBWay offers a wide range of products and services, including assembly, stencils, and PCB design. When you have a need for circuit boards, head on over to PCBWay.com and give them a try. Up first, we have a little package here from Mindflare Retro, all the way from Canada. I'll put a link to his channel in the description down below. Let's have a look inside. Oh, all sorts of goodies in there. So what we have here is a C64 saver. This was invented by BWAC. I'll also put a link to his channel below. And Mindflare Retro produces these. This is a C64 overvoltage kit. So we've got two kits there with all the parts and the little circuit boards. And he included a pre-made enclosure that goes in, or you can 3D print your own. Yeah, my thumbs won't work. Let's have a look here. Oh, there we go. All sorts of good stuff inside. So we have our little circuit board there. And he's put a label on all the parts to let you know what they are. Labels on all the resistors. That must have taken a lot of time. So we'll put one of these together in the near future. I think I'm going to slip this inside my CPS-10 power supply, which is a aftermarket third-party Commodore 64 power supply from back in the day. It's the one I normally use. And we're going to embed a new piece of protection technology inside of an old power supply rather than having it on a cord in line. And we've got another one here on a package, and maybe we'll do a giveaway on this. What do you think? Okay, and then we have a box. This one I do know one of the things that's inside because it's from one of my sisters. She said, "Hey, I've got this old hard drive. Would you like it? Maybe you can use it for one of your videos." I said, "Sure." And this big box showed up, and she left a nice note in there that says, "Hope you have fun looking through the box." The hard drive is in there and some other stuff, and they were just all sitting around, so she put them in a box and mailed them to me. Let's have a look. This is the hard drive. This is out of an older computer of hers. It is a Connor CFA 340A. So this is a few gigabytes, few hundred megabytes, 300, whoops, yeah, you can't see that. It's 340 megabytes. So this will be good for like a DOS type PC type of build. So this will be fun. Oh. And there's all sorts of miscellaneous cables in here. It's a TRRS to RCA, some USB cables, power cables, adapters, Cat6 cable, all sorts of different things. I'm not sure what that is right there. Some type of power outlet box. And power cables. and some type of little wall wart. You know, I have a whole box of these wall warts, and they always come in handy because when I'm working on something new, I can dig through there and find just the right wall wart for it. So it's always nice to have a box of these. All sorts of adapters and cables, and it's things like this that you never realize you need till you're working on something and you don't have a way to plug it in. So I have a box of these type of adapters too. This is a right angle stereo to RCA, and you know, you use stuff like this all the time. So thanks, sis, I really appreciate it. This whole mess here is all Sharp PC1500 Radio Shack PC2 stuff, and it all started with this guy. I got this really cheap at an auction, which is the first pocket computer I ever saw. A friend's dad had one of these. He used in his machine shop, and it had some crusty batteries in it, but I got those out and it actually worked. And I had some fun writing some programs, but I had no way to save it. And I thought, well, maybe I can make my own interface. And lo and behold, it's more difficult because the cassette interface for these, all the code for it's actually in the cassette interface, not in the pocket computer. So I said, well, maybe I can find a cassette interface. So then I found this stuff right here. And this actually had a Sharp PC1500, a Sharp cassette interface, and a Radio Shack cassette interface. The Sharp cassette interface was in bad shape. I've had it over on the bench for more than a month tinkering with it, and it has worked sometimes and not worked sometimes, so I'm not sure what's going on there. And there's a bit of software here too, and a, you know, vintage computer program data recorder, which just means a cheap cassette deck. The ones sold as, you know, computer cassette recorders had the remote input and earphone and speaker output. Some of them had an auxiliary output. This one also has a 6-volt DC input. I remember this particular type from back in the day as having a lot of 60 hertz noise when powered by AC. And this one does the same thing, so I don't know if we're going to be able to do anything about that. This does work though. So after realizing that making my own, you know, cassette interface is going to be more difficult, I learned that there was a RS-232 interface for these guys, which is what this is. This is Radio Shack's version. It has the RS-232, but it does not have the parallel port interface, which the Sharp version had. So in order to get this guy, I had to buy another whole set of stuff. So we wound up with these metal plates here, which are designed to put the cassette interface on and allow and to hold that to this RS-232 interface out the back here, but it's got all this bracketry to hold all that together. Some cables, some manuals, the power supply, another power supply they threw in there. And in this bag we have yet another PC2 and TRS-80 cassette interface. This is all in really good shape though. It's in much better shape than the first one that I got a hold of, and in better shape than the first cassette interface I took apart. So now I have cassette interfaces coming out my ears, and I have one RS-232 interface. So my plan is, in some future episodes, is to go through all this and we'll refurbish some things. I'll show you how to make new battery packs for the cassette interface, because this actually has some NiCad batteries in it. This also has some NiCad batteries, so we'll learn about making new battery packs for that, refurbishing everything, and hopefully getting it to work and writing some software and even some assembly language stuff for it. It started out very simple and then kind of exploded. About 6 weeks ago, a nice old fella stopped by to pick up a piece of CNC equipment from me, and he said, "Hey, I saw one of your videos on YouTube." And he told me about him starting with Atari because he found some accounting software that would work for his needs for that, for his small business. And he said, hey, I've got it out in the trunk of my car if you would like it. So we go out there and we find this great old Atari 800. And yeah, it's been sitting in his garage for decades. And, you know, it's been a home to some form of rodents over the years, so it's going to need a lot of cleaning. But the Atari 800 and Atari 400 were the first two computers that I ever used. We had, I think, 3 of these total, one 800 and 2 400s at the high school I went to. And so it's the first computers I ever got to lay my hands on, and I haven't touched one in more than 30 years. So we'll have a lot of relearning to do. I used to actually fix these for my school. And a couple weeks later, a box shows up in the mail, and he found some more things for it. Found some of these cartridges, basic and pilot cartridge. And it didn't come with a power supply, but I was able to find a new old stock Atari power supply from Best Electronics in California. He also found some disc, but not the disk drive, but I can back these up using the SuperCard Pro. And I've got some parts on hand now to build a disk drive emulator for the Atari. So we'll be able to see what's on these discs. And he even found this old fax modem in the box, but it has a weird mini DIN connector, and so I'm not quite sure what that was to plug into. Thought that was awfully nice of him to bring this down and give it to me, and we're going to do a few episodes focusing on Atari, and we'll get this all cleaned up and fixed up and working, hopefully. And this nifty little box showed up the other day. This was a donation from a very kind viewer. So let's pop it open and see what's inside. This is an Epson HX-20, which was one of the very first, portable type computers. More laptop than luggable, but still quite a chunk. This thing has to weigh 5 pounds. Has a microcassette built in to store programs. This is an expansion unit, which kind of bolts onto the back here. And it even has a built-in printer. And the keyboard's rather nice feeling. Now this does have a little problem with the LCD. You can turn it on, and if you hold the LCD at a really sharp angle like that, you can see that it's on, and you can adjust the contrast. But there's something up there, so maybe it's something in the power supply. There's usually, a -5 volt, -8 volt power supply going to LCDs. And if that's low, we might not be getting a good display. So we'll have to take a look at that. Now, he also included some documentation and some printouts of different things he found over the years, which is really nice. And this has some add-on program ROMs in it. A few days after he sent this, he sent me an email, and he had a saved search on eBay pop up with something very interesting, which was this guy. This is the HX-20 technical manual. This is the factory service manual for the HX-20. And he said, he'd never seen this pop up in all the years he had been collecting old computers. And he wanted to let me know about it since he was sending me the HX-20. So, I tried to resist, and you just can't find a PDF of these guys anywhere. So I went ahead and bought it. I've scanned this whole thing. I still have a little more cleanup to do on it, and then I'll assemble the PDF, and this will be posted online. But this is a huge book. It's close to 300 pages. Pull out schematics, troubleshooting, flowcharts, parts diagrams, photographs. It just goes through everything in here. It's a very extensive manual. So that'll be nice having that publicly available for everybody that has these neat old HX-20s. Here we have a beautiful Apple iMac G5. This is from the same fellow that sent the Epson HX-20. He actually sent this quite a while ago. I worked on the power supply on this before and got it outputting power, but the auto start, the pilot circuit, isn't working right, so it doesn't want to turn on. So we're going to take a look at this, make a video about it and get this beautiful machine working again. And he's just sent all sorts of accessories. Nice. There's some more memory, an external floppy drive, Office for the Mac, the original manuals, and he sent a couple other Apple books as well, which is really nice. I really appreciate this type of thing. It gives us more stuff to work on and more interesting videos for the channel. Now we take a step on Apple's a generation back from that beautiful iMac G5, and we have this Power Mac G4. This thing is a beast. This was actually trash picked, quite a while ago. And, my plan is to do kind of a generational comparison between the two, to see what the differences are, to see what the similarities are, that type of thing. And this is definitely a big honking case, and of course it's by Apple, so they made it nice looking as well. I just found this sitting in somebody's trash, complete with the monitor. As you can see, is very dirty. It must have been in a very dusty place, and this is going to be the outer shell and the inner shell taken apart and all that dust cleaned out of there. And of course, the keyboard also has to be very dirty and yellow on the inside. So, I don't know, maybe they were a smoker. It's rather gross. So look for an episode with this coming up, and we'll tear it all apart and see if we can get it working again. You might be wondering what this funny box right here is for. Well, this came as a result of a bit of horse trading with somebody. He'd gotten 2 of these with a old computer purchase, and we did a little swapping, and he sent me 1 box of these. That is a categorized box of 200 brand new 3.5-inch high density floppies. Brand new. Never been used. I don't know if they've ever been out of the box before. And, this is enough disk to last probably a lifetime. And what I found is interesting as a big box of disk like this was the storage box they came into with a plastic handle. So this was designed to sit on a shelf and be retrieved on occasion and put back. And they had some cardboard index things in here, so it makes me wonder if this was sold as a backup set, so you could pull this out, back up your hard drive on 200 disk, stick it on the shelf. So sure glad we have larger storage media now, so we don't have to use thousands of 3.5-inch floppy disk. But anyhow, to me, the cardboard box this is in is just as exciting as the discs that are inside. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little look at things that have made their way into the shop recently and things that will be in upcoming episodes. This is that cassette recorder I spoke of I've been having fits with, and the circuit board that goes inside. I even made a new battery pack for it. And it's worked a few times and it's not working now, so we'll see this type of thing in an upcoming episode and see if we can't get it to work. I would like to take a moment to say thanks to the folks who help support the Hey Birt channel through Patreon and other means like donating some of this cool gear. It's very much appreciated. If you'd like to find out more information about becoming a supporting member, just look in the description down below. There are some links there. Appreciate everyone watching the videos and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, just look down below. You'll see a rectangular box that says subscribe in it. Well, click on that guy and it does what you think. Then click on that bell-shaped icon and YouTube will be nice enough to let you know just as soon as I post a new video. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. Just leave them in the comment section down below. And until next time, bye.